James, take it away.
I am not prepared for this at all.
I think there's an obvious song to use.
Is there?
Yeah.
But that'll be copyrighted.
No, you can't get done for copyright.
I'm just making stuff up now.
Dancing in the... No, don't mind.
I kind of was there with it.
No.
That's the end.
Wow, we've definitely been out of this for a while.
Yeah.
Anywho, hello and welcome to Films I Should Have Seen, the podcast in which we watch and discuss movies that are either considered popular or highly regarded that we may have missed in the past. My name is Ross, and with me as always is my co-stars Sean.
Evening.
And James.
Hello.
And for this episode, we watched Four Lions, because we haven't watched a film I have seen in quite some time.
I'm trying really hard to not make a line roar right now.
Good, because I'm sure it'll be terrible.
Yeah.
So I had seen this. Sean had also seen it, but didn't remember it.
Not all of it, no.
And James had not seen
I
it.
had not seen it.
No. So, obviously you hadn't seen it, but you were aware of this film.
Yes, I was aware of this film. I always remember my brother saying I should watch it. It's a really good film, but I just never got around to watching it myself.
Okay. And how long ago have you watched it?
Would have been roughly when it came out. So I don't know when was it released.
2010. This film came out.
Yeah.
I think I watched it maybe about a year or two after it came out. But so still quite some time ago, but I remembered quite a bit of it. For those people who haven't seen it, this is a British comedy which revolves around five Muslim men trying to be a jihad terrorist group. Obvious comedy material. Just for context, because this came out in 2010, obviously probably the two biggest terror attacks of the time. You had the September 11 attacks in 2001, and there was the 7/7 bombings in London in 2005. So while a few years after, I would say this was still while everybody was being very kind of cautious around like terrorism and stuff like that. So this was really risque at the time. Like I remember it getting a lot of backlash leading up to its release.
I think it did get a lot of press. I think I do remember a lot of press in reading the newspapers and things like that. I do remember Kovan Novak. Is it Kovan Novak? Is it?
Is that the Kaivan Novak? Who played Waj.
Yeah, I remember him getting a lot of stick because he was around at the time doing Phone Jacker, Face Jacker and all that.
He was, yeah.
So this was slightly risque for him because he was doing very well.
Yeah, I think at the time, out of the main cast, he was probably
the bigger one, wasn't he? Not like literally in height. He was quite top, but
yeah, he was probably the one that had the most like kind of recognisable fame of the moment when this film came out. Obviously, he's not the lead. The lead is played by Riz Ahmed, which this is the film that I think really kick-started his career. And he's a phenomenal actor. If you've seen anything that he's gone on to do, he's really good. You have seen him and stuff because he is in Rogue One. He plays Birdie.
Oh yeah, he's got long hair in that, hasn't he?
He does, yeah.
The difference, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Sticking with the terrorist subject, as I imagine we will for the entire episode. When the film had its world premiere at Sundance on January 23rd, 2010, the same day the UK terror threat level was raised to severe due to non-specific chatter.
Oh. Well then.
Timing.
Very specific.
I don't know if there's a correlation between them two, but hey, press, I suppose. Right, so as this was my pick, I'm just going to throw out there, this film is not as good as I remember it being. I still enjoyed it, and I do think it does have a special place for like what it's doing, but for the majority of the way through it, I was like, this isn't as funny as I remember it.
I'm glad you said that. Because he was building it up at work, like, oh, Ross really loves it, and we're going to watch that again. And I was like, I do sort of remember it, but I don't. And then sat there watching it, and I was like, there's some really good little bits at the beginning. And then I just sort of wandered off, and it was...
See, I
you
thought
get the odd little snippet, one little lines.
See, I thought it got better towards the end.
Looking at James hated it.
No, I didn't hate it.
James laughed. Every time I heard James, like, kind of just slightly snigger, it felt like a little victory for me, because I was worried we were going to get all the way through this film and there was going to be no laughs whatsoever.
I feel underwhelmed by it. I think it hasn't aged poorly, but for lack of a better term, it is very basic. There's not a lot, and I get the plot of it doesn't, and what they're trying to tell, it doesn't need to be a complicated plot or anything like that. But I feel, as someone who has it built up by my brother, he's always said it's a really good film.
Yeah, I
think the best way to describe it is any middle-aged teenager will love the hell out of that film, because it's got silly things going on, a bed gets blown up, stupid things that teenagers, and I think that's why my brother may have liked it so much. And I'm sure if I watched it when I was a teenager, I would have found it even more funny.
See, I get where you're coming from there, and there probably is some like truth to that, because I was a teenager when I first saw this. But I do think a lot of the humour in this, especially for the time it came out, is based around shock value of the subjects matter that they are poking fun at. And I think since that time, we have been so desensitised to this kind of stuff that making jokes about being terrorists isn't as shocking nowadays. I think we've had a lot of more, like, kind of time to digest this kind of stuff, that it isn't as this big, like, controversial thing anymore. I mean, one of the biggest threats we have these days are drones at airports. Yeah.
And things like that. So the fact that there's 4 men that want to blow themselves up, yeah, you're right, we've become desensitised, but we find it the norm almost. I mean, it was the Paris terror attack a couple of years ago. That, I'd say, is probably the most recent terror attack that, like, was of a high scale.
Yeah, and it's kind of...
But they happen all the time. We all get it on our phones.
It's kind
we
of
get
tragic
notifications through about something's happened here, something's happened there.
Yeah, because I remember 9/11. I was at college and I just got home. My dad was telling us about it, and we switched it on the TV, and I think that was the first time we'd all stood in front of a TV and watched the news. We don't really do the news because it was so shocking, and now it's just in passing talk. Oh, there's been an attack. Oh, there's been an attack there.
That's the thing. Like I say, it's so common now. So, like, having, like, something like this, it would be inevitable. But I think this at the time was so, like, kind of, wait, they're doing what? They're making a film, a comedy, even. Like, not like a drama, not something that was, like, even going to show the horrors.
A biopic.
Documentary.
Not
something like showing the horrors of terror, or, like, trying to show the heroism of the hero. This is a comedy where your heroes of the film are the terrorists. And I think at the time that was so controversial, whereas now...
Credit to the actors that came in for it, and the directors and all that. They were the ones brave enough to poke fun at it straight away. Well, not straight away, but to be probably the first to try and, like...
You got to think as well, like, these are actors who are all, like, fairly kind of unknown, so you imagine still trying to make a name for themselves. So to put their names on the line and do a film like this was probably really, like, kind of risky for them. Because if this film hadn't been well received or hadn't gone down well, that could have ended their career or, like, ruined it, because they would just always be known as the guy from that terrorist film.
Yeah.
Like I say, Riz Ahmed has gone on to have a really successful career, so it paid off for him.
To get away from the... I think political is the wrong word, but the political side of it, and actually about the film, it was okay. I felt it was really... it lulled a lot, and then the ending was really good. The ending had quite a good pace to it, and you could tell that's obviously where a majority of the budget went to, with them being in London and all the explosions and stuff like that.
Fun fact, they're not in London. That was still all filmed in Sheffield.
Oh, was it still all in Sheffield?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Then.
It would have cost way too much to film in
But that's what I'm getting at there. You can
think
tell that's where a lot of the effort went to, and the ending was good. I don't know if good is the right word.
I think it's kind of done on purpose. Of like, the film is quite slow,
yeah,
and I think it's kind of done on purpose to meant to be like, what they're doing is really mundane. So then it does contrast when they get to the marathon, and you kind of get caught up in the panic because it does become a lot quicker and everything's happening so fast. So I think that's done on purpose. I don't know if either of you were, because this is wrote and directed by written and directed by Christopher Morris, who, I don't know if you've seen it, James, but it seems like something you would have. Have you ever watched the series Brass Eye?
No.
Late 90s, early 2000s. It was like a mockumentary TV series. It was like fake evening news. It always did like controversial stuff. You may have remembered many years ago there was like a thing where they made up a fake drug called Cake, but they got like a load of actual TV presenters and actors to do like warning messages about it, thinking it was real. Either way, so it is a very like kind of similar. It's a very kind of obvious subject for Christopher Morris. I think he did a good job. I still think this is a good film. I don't think it's aged terribly well.
The rose-tinted glasses were definitely on before you watched it.
Oh, absolutely. But I definitely didn't enjoy this as much as I remember enjoying it. When you watched it, do you remember thinking you liked it, Sean?
No, I really can't remember. Like I say, I remember snippets, such as being in the house, organising things. I remember, spoiler, the sheep being blown up. But it's only bits like I couldn't remember the ending. I wouldn't have guessed it was the Honey Monster, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, a ostrich, and an upside down clown threatening Sheffield.
London.
The London Marathon.
London Marathon.
Sheffield.
Via
Marathon.
Sheffield.
But no, I couldn't remember it all. I remember it being very
talked about, very
and very dry comedy.
Yeah.
Which I normally like and I enjoy, but there was only snippets of this that I could say I sat there and chuckled.
Yeah.
Because I know a couple of times you looked over to see if I was actually asleep.
I did.
Because I was very quiet for a while.
At one point I thought you was asleep because I'm sure I heard you snore.
No, it might have been the dog.
Might have been.
Might have been that running dog.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't. I think it was Ian before he left work. He was talking to us about it, wasn't he, when we were seeing different films and things. And he mentioned it again. He was very excited about it and very how great it is. I don't think it is anymore.
No.
I really don't.
Yeah, see, I don't think it stands.
I think it's because there's a lot of it that is so ridiculous.
Yeah, but I think that it is so of its time, because like I say, I think this came out when we were still like quite on hyper alert for this kind of stuff. So to have a film poking fun of it was so like appealing, because it was taking this such dark, taboo subject and like laughing at it. Whereas nowadays it's not as ridiculous. So it's just kind of dumb. I think the film has a lot of quotable lines. There's a lot that I still do quote. Like, I love the line of, is he a martyr or is he a fucking Jalfrezi? I think that's brilliant. No, I was disappointed rewatching it.
There's going to be one line that I am going to hear James probably constantly say for the next week and a half.
It's the most quoted line in the entire film, and I hate it.
And it's going to be the Rubber Dinghy Rapids.
Rubber Dinghy Rapids, bruv.
Making the gun look bigger, ain't I? Bigger, that's it. Bigger, right at the beginning.
Right, so, because there wasn't a lot of trivia on this film, which I was quite surprised by, but one of them I did find quite interesting. According to Christopher Morris, the director, Barry, the jihadist group leader, was based on a former BNP member who, in an attempt to acknowledge the Asian youths he regularly assaulted, studied the Quran and as a result accidentally converted himself and became a Muslim. Because obviously Barry is not
Not a Muslim.
no, he's a white British convert.
Yes.
So I found that quite funny. I feel like we don't have a lot to say about this movie.
No.
No, because it wasn't a long film either. It was produced by Film 4. You know,
Hey, Film 4 produced a lot of good films.
I don't know, but back in those days, they would have been as big as there was. I would have said probably by like 2000. There was a time where Film 4 was quite big, and they got quite a lot of good films behind them.
We do have in this movie a pre-Sherlock and pre-Doctor Strange Benedict
Yes, we
Cumberbatch
do.
with
I didn't even realise it was him.
very questionable facial hair.
Yeah, that was special.
Yeah.
Special indeed.
Like, because I did not know who he was when I first saw this film, and then it was like going back and seeing that scene, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's in this movie."
Yeah, I again, it's like I said, it's basic, so there's not loads to really dive into and analyse and talk about. It's just for lads, trying to be terrorists and not really doing a good job of it.
There is
Firing a
one.
rocket launcher
Who's the female
backwards.
actor? The blonde. Who's,
Oh, plays Alice.
Yeah, what
Julia Davis.
What have I seen? I can picture a face in a scene of something else, and I can't think what it is right now.
She's in Love Actually, but so is every British actor.
Did Love Actually? I've got read in from.
Talk amongst yourselves while I'm looking. She's in Black Mirror.
Haven't watched Black Mirror. Sorry, yours.
See, I'm looking for things she's in that I know her from, but that might not be helpful. She's in Gavin and
Gavin
Stacey.
and
She's
Stacey.
Dawn.
Yes, she is. That's what
That'll
I
be where you know
recognise her
her
from. You know, watch Gavin and Stacey, have you?
No.
You really should.
funny.
I've seen snippets and I don't really enjoy it.
Oh,
I'm not a big James Corden fan.
oh,
See, he wrote that along with
Ruth Jones.
Ruth Jones, and I think they're
Plays
both
Nessa.
really good writers. And the appeal of that series is they're all come across as like genuine people. Anyway, this isn't about
He's a
that.
West Ham fan, in it. I don't know if that's what's putting you off.
Anywho, non-Gavin and Stacey related. One of the things I did want to talk about, because I remember, because the first time I watched this was in film studies in college, and it was one of the things we discussed there, and I do think it's very important. I think some of the most important parts of this film is when you see Omar with his family, with his
Brother and his wife.
his wife and his son. Because not only was this like a comedy, like poking fun at terrorism, it shows them as humans, as real people. At the point, terrorists weren't anything new to film, but terrorists were just these evil, like, villains, just twirling, like, the mustaches and causing havoc. So I do think it was quite brave of them as well, because they are the heroes of this story. You don't want them to hurt anyone, but you are kind of championing them to kind of
Do
succeed
something,
in a way. So I think a big part of that is like to show them as real people. So to show that he's having this just fairly kind of just normal life alongside trying to be a suicide bomber.
Yeah.
Like, he's clearly in a loving relationship with his wife.
Yeah,
He loves his son and everything. Like, he's telling his son bedtime stories. Yeah, you have the ridiculousness if he's changing The Lion King to match what happens there.
The scene where it's late at night and they're all sat at the dining room table and they're all just talking about it. So relax, so blasé.
Like you would talk about talk about your day at work.
Yeah, she's like almost rooting him on, saying, "No, you have to do it. You have to go blow yourself up. You've
come this far.
You've come this far. In reality, it would be."
It's
No, don't do that. I love you. You need to.
It's sort of
stop being
like if
that.
you came home from work and you were saying to Hannah, like, "Oh, I'm thinking of like quitting my job," or like, "She goes, oh no, well, you've worked so hard, like sticking." But they're talking about him being a suicide bomber. But I do think those moments of they act like a genuine married couple.
Yeah.
They act like a
Playing with the
loving-
water pistols and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
So I do think those scenes are really important to the film and actually go a long way to making you like Omar as a character, even though what he's trying to do is terrible. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I think we wrap it up there, don't we, really? I know it's not been a long one.
Aberdeen Rapids, bro.
Aberdeen Rapids, bro. Jump the queues. Oh, towers.
That's best. Yeah.
Wait, let me take a picture of my confused face. No, it's not my confused face.
See, you're not laughing during the film. It's got so many
Yeah, it's got
quotable
some good
lines.
quotable silly things. Now, is that...
It's
does
not.
that-
It's not belly laughing humour. It is
No,
just
it's just
chuckle. laugh.
Chuckle, yeah.
All right. Oh.
Now, I may be way off base here, but do we find that a little bit more funny because we're so close to Sheffield? Do you think it as like an area thing,
A cultural.
a cultural, regional thing? Do we find it a little bit... Will we quote it more than maybe people down in London would, or people up in Newcastle?
I'm not certain about that.
Just thinking out loud.
I think, I don't know, it may not go down as well with people, in London,
Yeah.
since the target at the end of it
Yeah.
is somewhat a bit closer to home for them. I think, because they never actually mention they're in Sheffield, and, Sheffield as a location isn't important to the story. If it isn't for the fact that we recognise Meadowhall as soon as that shot comes up, you could be watching this anywhere around the country and it just looks like generic British city.
No, it's definitely Sheffield.
Well, we know it's Sheffield.
Yeah, Sheffield.
It's like when I helped work on a film that they were filming in Hull, and that's meant to be, they used parts of it for London and Amsterdam, and then I saw that movie and it's like, this is so obviously Hull, but
I don't know.
yeah. Oh well, I don't mind doing a short episode. Our last one was really long.
Yes, it was a very, very long.
But I think we all enjoyed the last one a lot more.
We did. It was a festive time. It was a good time. Snowed today.
It
for
did
us.
snow
It did
today.
snow.
Yeah, it did.
To hark back to
Yeah.
that last episode. Good bit of snow.
Did any of us try and jump off a bridge today?
No, I wrote my name in the snow though.
Don't want to know.
Hang on.
Skated my car out the top of the street in the snow. That was fun.
I haven't decided. I haven't settled on what we're doing next episode, so I won't.
You won't even say
Won't
anything.
plug something in case we don't end up doing it.
It'll just be a mystery.
It'll be a movie.
Or short story.
Nope, definitely will be a film since it's in the title of the show.
We could do a TV, a lovely TV series that me and you adore so very much.
Why not?
Just a bit of it. Just a bit of Frying Laurie.
Right, we'd have to do a TV series version of this show.
Let's do that then.
No.
I will do that solo and tell you about all the TV series that you should be watching, like a bit of Frying Laurie.
Right, does anybody
Super
want to...
Twist.
Anybody
Super
want to do
Twist.
an outro?
I'm gonna out with Super Twist. You two do whatever you want.
I'm cutting off the recording. before
And
we
now,
start
Mr.
singing.
Music Man,
Buffalo
please
girls, won't you come
play
out
that
tonight?
music.
Jesus Christ.
Come out tonight. Buffalo
Super
girls,
Twist.
won't you come out tonight?